morning. I wanted to welcome you to this new segment of Finding Hidden Courage. And with me today is Barry Bevier. And I've asked Barry to join us because I find his story of how he found his hidden courage to be very unique, inspiring, and I think you will, as viewers, really enjoy what he has to say. But before we begin, a little bit about Barry. Barry came from the Midwest on a farm. He was a farmer's son. He grew up very, very healthy stock, so to speak. And during this entire transition of the story that he is going to share with us, he then changed his career to being a health coach, which is significant because from an engineer to a health coach and how he got there plays an important part of his story. So I think, Barry, I'd like to begin with telling the viewers about what happened to you and in your story at the beginning, if you would, please.
Okay. It began in 1997.
Okay.
I was single. I was living in Oceanside, California. Had my own engineering company. We just finished a successful project, and I had a party at my house for all the participants. We had the party. That's where I met Linda,
All right.
who was my wife. We'd both been married before.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of us were really looking for a companion at the time.
Right.
Her mom and stepdad just wanted her to get out and socialize a little bit. Linda had lupus. When we met, she was in her mid-30s, and she had been diagnosed about 10 years early. As I learned, she was being treated with pharmaceutical drugs. There was, like a lot of diseases, no known cure. It's just we treat the symptoms with pharmaceuticals. So she was coming out of a pretty rough period, gone into remission, they call it. After we got married, for the next 3 or 4 years, her health continued to improve, but she was still being given more pharmaceuticals. And as time went on, she'd have side effects, new pharmaceutical to set off or to offset the side effects of the ones she was taking. So by the 2005, 2006, she was pretty healthy, and as I look back at photographs, you could see the difference in her vibrance. She had 2 girls. When we met, they were 2 and 4. When we got married, they were like 5 and 7. I hadn't had children from my previous marriage, and they're adorable little girls. It was great. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. Looking back, she kept in a lot of her suffering, a lot of her pain. She didn't want it to affect the family. And so I look back and I see a lot of indications where she was sicker than she would really let on to be. And so that gets us up to the late 2000s.
Okay.
Linda was doing really good. And then in about the middle of 2009, started to see, a change in her. And then we started to notice some physical changes. And her mom and the girls and I would say, "Come on, Mom, get to the doctor." She was stubborn. She would openly say, "I'm not going to the doctor. All they're going to do is pump me full of more drugs."
I can imagine.
And so, "Okay, honey, but you're sick. We got to do something." This went on for a couple more months until she literally looked like a starving, the girls would call it this. Mom looks like a starving African kid. Christmas time, it was getting more noticeable, and we just couldn't get her to go to the doctor. So I went to work for another company in San Diego that did the same type of business that I'd been doing for years.
But without all the pressure of your own business.
So I thought. The first week of March, mine happened on March 5th, 20 of us nationwide in my position were let go blindsided. Friday afternoon, March 5th, 2010, I call her, I say, "Honey, I don't have a job anymore." I used that as an opportunity to tell Linda, "Look, you aren't feeling well. The girls should get checkups. We all need to get in to the doctor and get a checkup while we still have health insurance." We got Linda into the doctor. Mm-hmm. Her mom, being a nurse, wrote a letter to the doctor and hand-delivered it saying, you will see Linda's not very well. She's not addressing the situation. We need to get her some care. They got her admitted to the hospital, um, and that's where the next thing started. So we finally get her to the hospital to get some care, see what's going on. At the hospital, they were performing a very simple routine procedure called a paracentesis. They wanted to withdraw fluid from her belly to see if it was infected or had blood. Well, they hit the vein. They hit a big vein, which caused complications. Over the next 10 weeks, 2.5 months, she was in and out of the hospital 5 times for a total of 40 days.
Wow.
She passed away on June 18th of a brain hemorrhage. She'd gotten infections in the hospital. They couldn't control her blood clotting. And
I'm
so
sorry.
It was like every day.
It was a new event.
What's next? So the girls were 14 and 16 at the time. 15 and 17 at the time.
Okay.
I kept them informed as to what was going on. The oldest one could drive, so I didn't have to run them around.
Mm-hmm.
I was, before Linda died, I was taking care of, I had some work to do. I was taking care of the girls, taking care of the house, taking care of her. I had my hands full.
Yes.
And then, when a person passes away, there's things to deal with.
Yes.
You've got funeral and all the other arrangements because she was 46 when she died.
So young. Young.
There's no, you aren't prepared for that then.
Yeah. You're trying to find yourself.
I was struggling. Yeah. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wasn't ready to retire. I knew I didn't have the income saved up to retire, or the investments to retire. And I had lost my passion for engineering, not my passion for life.
What was sustaining you?
I think my faith, friends, family, and just I have a desire to always learn, always to learn more, always to be more. And I knew I wasn't where I could be. I've always believed God has a plan for us, and sometimes you go off on detours on your own. Sometimes He takes you off on detours. But I knew in my heart that I hadn't fulfilled what I was put on earth for. There was a purpose that I was put on this planet for that I knew I hadn't fulfilled, and I hadn't even discovered it. I did a lot of searching internally of what's that purpose. I remember taking a couple classes at church about finding your purpose, finding your strengths, and so that was all part of the process. I knew that there was going to be struggles to get where I wanted to be. And I didn't even know where I wanted to be yet. I never felt alone. I never felt lonely to this day. And I have no idea how I did it. I was never angry with God. I did say, why me?
Oh, okay.
There were times where
at least you were human.
There were times where I felt like I was Job. As a matter of fact, several times I picked up the Bible and started to read the book of Job, and I had to put it down. Job was in the Bible, and he was very faithful man. And the devil went to God and said, Job's faith is unfailing, and so God said, okay, devil, Job's yours.
Oh.
Tempt him. So basically, he was very wealthy.
Okay.
He was very wealthy. He lost his family. He lost everything. He lost his health. The point was his faith never wavered, and so in the end, he ends up with everything and more.
Okay.
And in this search for my purpose, and realizing, I can do anything I put my mind to. I can be who I want to be. I can do what I want to do. Uh, I I realized that I had the ability to help people avoid what happened to me.
Ooh.
God gave us marvelous bodies that can heal themselves when you treat them right. And through diet and nutrition and supplementation, for the things that we can't get from nutrition,
Right.
we can heal most of the things ourselves, and we can prevent a lot of the things. I get so sick. I see people on Facebook saying, "Find a cure for cancer."
Yes.
We know, for the most part. I'm sure there's exceptions. For the most part, I think we have all the tools we need to keep people healthy. It's just our system is all backwards.
So your part of your mission, or now your renewed sense of purpose then, is to help educate people by the products that you're representing and the workshops that you do and the consultations that you do.
And I'm starting to see more traction in that. I think, in the past few years, a lot more people, is more in the media. You have to be careful what you believe, I think. But there's more in the media about the how we can be healthy, improving our diet, staying away from processed foods
Sugars.
and sugary stuff. Yeah, sugar's bad.
Yeah. And if you were to give any advice to any of our viewers about what they can do when they go through a life-changing experience that's really hard and heavy, do you have any words that you would leave them with? And I want to end with this passage that you shared with me earlier. It's so beautiful. But telling our viewers, is there anything that stands out?
Faith in yourself, perseverance or persistence, just knowing that what you're going through is temporary, and it's a learning experience. It's a growing experience. I look back and what I know today about health and wellness. If I'd known that 10 years ago, I'm 1,000% certain Linda would still be here with us. However,
Yes.
the girls and I would not be nearly the people we are had we not gone through this experience.
And with that, what I'd like you to do, if you would, in closing, is read the verse today that was appropriately, before you came, you said, wow. And I'd like you to share that, please.
So, yes. So I do my devotions every morning. I meditate. I pray. I get a little exercise. But this is from today. It's for January 9th, from Jesus Calling by Sarah Young. And hopefully I can read it. I am with you, and for those of you unfamiliar, this is written kind of like it's Jesus or God talking to you.
Okay.
So, I am with you and for you. When you decide on a course of action that is in line with my will, nothing in heaven or on earth can stop you. You may encounter many obstacles as you move toward your goal, but don't be discouraged. Never give up. With my help, you can overcome any obstacle. Do not expect an easy path as you journey hand in hand with me, but do remember that I, your very present helper, am omnipotent. Much stress results from your wanting to make things happen before their time have come. One of the main ways I assert my sovereignty is in the timing of events. If you want to stay close to me and do things my way, ask me to show you the path forward moment by moment. Instead of dashing headlong towards your goal, let me set the pace. Slow down and enjoy the journey in my presence.
Thank you, Bevier. God bless you.
Thank you.
my dear friend.
Happy to
Thank
share
you.
my story.
Thank you.